Welcome back, friends. The Mars Volta era showcased Jon Theodore at his most explosive point behind the drum set. But what happens when a drummer known for controlled chaos starts to really prioritize space and groove without compromising impact and projection on the kit? We now enter the Jon Theodore Queens of the Stone Age era, and we'll be breaking down a great modern example of his setups. Let's get stuck into it. By the time Theodore joins Queens of the Stone Age, the philosophy behind his playing begins to shift. The giant cymbal storms settle down, the kit evolves obviously, and the grooves seem to hit harder in their own way. And this modern setup that we're featuring today reflects that evolution, with the additions of a more hybrid setup and some electronics to go with it. Alright friends, let's get stuck into the setup from the Queens of the Stone Age 2023 touring era. And that is what I've chosen. Now, interesting fact, when Jon first joined Queens of the Stone Age, I was reading that Josh Homme suggested he get on the wood shells. Because in the past, we know that he's used stainless steel drums and Vista lights, which is seemed to be his preference. So, look, projection is a thing for Theodore. He obviously wants that, and his playing demands it, right? And as we know, he did go back to Vista lights, particularly that famous red one that we see here live from the Villains era. So he's got the, red Vista light going. And they sound rad too. But, there's a better look at it there. Now, Jon eventually went back to wood shells under the condition that the drums had a really hard bearing edge for projection. He obviously didn't want to lose that with the wood shells. Obviously, Ludwig have built this kit for Jon, and it's an absolute ripper. Now, this is a Ludwig Classic Maple in satin charcoal shadow. So I've recreated this digitally as close as possible based on photographs and articles in the past. And I put a lot of time into this one. There's a bit of detail that goes into it. Starting with the kick drum, we have a 24 by 14. Pretty standard sizing for Theodore, and that dates back to the Mars Volta days. Stepping up here, we have a 13 by 9. We've seen him use 14s in the past, 14 by 10s. But this is a 13 by 9, very versatile sizing of rack tom. Stepping down to the floor toms, we have a 16 by 16 and an 18 by 16 to round out them. Now, Jon, still a massive fan of the Ludwig Supraphonic, and that is what is featured here on this kit. 14 by 6.5, beautiful crack to these drums. This is pretty much the shell setup. Now, I've added a little extra detail. I've got the wood, the stick markings on these drums, which I'm super proud of. This is a drum structure construction. Worked pretty hard on it. Now, let's go back to some images of that setup. Now, that's the front. Obviously, you can see the real thing. This is my digital recreation. What do you guys think? Did I get quite close? Now, actually, we have not finished the breakdown of the kit. We're going to the cymbals now. So, as you will notice with this setup in Queens of the Stone Age, more cymbals to what we're used to seeing. Now, let's start with the hi-hats over here. We have a Zildjian New Beat top over a 14 Master Sound bottom. Now, New Beat, as we know, has been featured in Theodore's setups of the past. Obviously, a favorite of his. We'll step up to Crash 1, which is 18K Zildjian Dark Thin Crash. So yeah, going for a bit of a darker element this time in Queens. Stepping over to the right here, we have a 21K Zildjian Sweet Ride. Bit of a brighter dynamic there, and 21, not a massive ride cymbal, but you know, you can crash on that and it sounds rad. Let's go to the Crash number 2, which is over here. This is a 19-inch K Dark Thin Crash. So the same model as this cymbal over here, just a different sizing. Stepping up 1 inch for that dynamic. And now we'll go to the effects, which are a lot cleaner, and we actually know what they are as opposed to that Mars Volta, busted metal stack. So starting with effects symbol number 1 over here, we have an 18K Zildjian EFX symbol. And then down here, a China cymbal being a 17K Zildjian China. So yeah, great dynamic. A few colors there between the dark and the bright. And then you've got your effects to round that out. In terms of kick pedals, I did see he was using 5,000 and 9,000. It looked like he was using a 5,000 kick pedal in this image here. But unfortunately, Drumstructor doesn't have a 5,000 pedal. So I've just rolled with the 9000 there for show. Then he's got obviously all DW hardware, including the hi-hat. And over here, he has an extra pedal, which is involved in triggering. So yeah, couple of pads here, and then down here, I couldn't see exactly what the connection was with that. But this is obviously to emulate record sounds live and just give the set a bit more of a fuller sound with different dynamics and digital dynamics and samples and all that good stuff. Modern Theodore. Let's go with that. The Modern Theodore, brother. And now he appeared to have a set of bongos here for a bit of a percussive effect, and obviously uses them live. I did my best to recreate this setup, and I'm super proud of this drum structure build. If you'd like to interact with this build and check it out, go into the comment section. I've left a link to this drum structure setup. You can play around with it, have a look, closer look, zoom in, zoom out. Now let's look at the drum heads quickly here. We have Emperor coateds or clears, typically Jon used in this era. I went with the clears here because that's what I saw in images on his Instagram from this kit. Now, obviously, the coateds are going to add even more warmth, but the clears are going to add more attack. And then a controlled sound black dot on the snare. On the kick, a P3 clear, a really good all-rounder and versatile batter head there. Now that rounds out the second kit in this episode series featuring Jon Theodore. If you missed the first episode, I've just added a link up here, a little card. We discuss his Mars Volta set. And friends, I'm keen to hear it. Which era of Jon Theodore and his drum setups best suits your taste? It's been a blast as always. Please feel free to like and subscribe, guys. And let's get more drum heads in here to chat drums and nerd out on gear and all that stuff. Take care of yourselves and rock on.